So back to Brian Kemp, Chris Carr, Department of Law, which is a department of filth. Brian Kemp's predecessor, Nathan Deal, corruption was never so evident amongst the executive, and his name appears on the state Supreme Court building. What an abomination. This chain of unlawful, illegal, and egregious chain of events which created a network of unlawful activities contrary to many a civil and criminal law statutes, state and federal. Not one judge has invoked suo motu in any honorable court. When a judge becomes aware of breaches of law, the judge can make a motion. The judge has the discretion, the court has the discretion that a case needs to be answered. Because as any fool who has attended a school of law, even a first year student, will know straight away, say, what the hell happened? How? You will see it. Read the documents. Example, contract law. Simple basics. These days, when money changes hands, lawfully, you are entering into a contract because an offer has been made. You've inspected, you've checked the services, you've accepted them, you pay for it. Consideration has been made. It's a binding contract of law. Goods, services, no matter what. Whether in kind or in cash. So if I were to follow the court procedures, and here's the comedy. Mr. Wiesman, representing the National Board for Certified Counselors, made several misrepresentations of law in his response at the DeKalb Superior Court. They were pointed out to Judge Asha Jackson. Did she order any sanctions? Only God knows. I'd very much doubt it. Because from what little I know about Hawkins, Parnell, Caxton, and Young, their paralegals even went to the social media to say that their attorneys go to courts with no case, and yet they come back with a winning court order. This I witnessed firsthand because I was a litigant against Mr. Wiesman. If I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I apologize. I'm not Asha Jackson, the Superior Court judge. I do apologize when I err. The defendant, National Board for Certified Counselors, on their website clearly stated there's a contract between the examiner and the candidate. That's what I put forward. That's what I had discussed with Dean Kamenschein at the GSU School of Law. That's what we were talking about with another lady who got appointed to the, she sits on the State Supreme Court in Georgia, Judge LaGrua. So it's not that I haven't spoken with or consulted with people who know about law or who should know about law. I did all my homework. I've been in company. I know plenty about law in general, and I can research law better than most attorneys and judges that I've come across in my life. I don't claim that. I was told that by my peers, by barristers at law, by senior counsel, junior counsel, king's counsel, queen's counsel, till I came to this rat house, which is called the law industry, or ambulance chasers. So, back to facts. The AAG at the DOJ says, no laws were broken. Really? Miss Kristen Clark, where did you study law? FBI agent McCabe agreed. There's egregious breach of law here, there, and everywhere when you follow the trail. So did the academics. Dean Sobelson, who is held in high esteem, said, and I quote, "If my first year student had made such a statement that there exists no contract law between Mr. Butt and NBCC, I would have thrown them out of the school. I would have thrown them out of my class." Department of Law and their senior AAGs and AAGs on paper disagree with Dean Sobelson and what is written on stone, as do the Superior Court judges, as did Judges Phipps, Dillard, and Peterson. Phipps retired. Dillard and Peterson applied for the post at the state's Supreme Court. Peterson got it. Thereafter, Judge Jackson's name was put forward for a place on the state Supreme Court. Oh my God, this woman does not understand the basics of contract law, and she thinks she is fit enough to sit on the state Supreme Court bench. Was it she and her incompetence, or the favors done, or the network of Muppets to be maintained, where the ones behind the scenes could dictate what takes precedence in law? While we talk about precedence, for a country whose education system is starving of intellect and competence, there is no precedent in state or federal courts where a licensing board or a license exam or an educational authority has been sued for incompetence, for sheer incompetence, where the exam presented was flawed, the answers were incorrect, upon which the marking was done. That's what I faced in 2014. And I was repeatedly told by state representatives from both parties, we are afraid they are going to bury your case. Everybody is watching you. Why? Because they had screwed up on their law school admissions exams in the state of Georgia. GSAC and LSAC exams, there was big problem with it, and I heard them discussing, Dean Kamenshine and Judge LaGrua, and they were befuddled and confused as to God knows what had happened and how it will settle. So from the onset, the attorneys, the law practitioners who happen to be legislators told me, they're going to bury you. That's what we are afraid of. And that's exactly what Georgia State Executive did. Proof? Court documents are on griftersnet.com, where your Court of Appeals judges pooped on the law. They did not offer an opinion. They merely agreed with the court order made by Judge Asha Jackson, which has no standing in law. Read it. I'm sure some of you are capable of reading. You're not that stupid. So let's go back to the AAGs, DOJ, civil law matters, and Kristen Clark, who closed file, for she could not find any civil laws having been broken. How my head has not exploded while I am talking with you, I have no idea. Stupidity has to have a limit. Not so. I was warned at UC Berkeley. Wait till you see the intellect you're talking about. Even the best of our law students, they will be average compared to you when you start speaking with them. I started to find that out in the California court system. But the abomination, what is called the court system here, and attorneys and judges and Governor Kemp's staff attorneys and others, they openly volunteered the information to say this is a pile of crap. It does not comply with laws. It's an abomination. Chief judges told me that. I have witnesses to the fact. I'm not just making stupid allegations. These are people in the know. These are people in the middle management power. But they had no power. They tried to change the system and eventually they just got on the gravy train. So what morals? What ethics? This is pure trash. Even people walked up to me at times and they said, I'm so sorry. You're dealing with white trash. I happen to be one of them. I'm from Griffin, where everybody is this, everybody is that. So that kind of common talk, I was paying no heed to it, but now it's beginning to hit home. There is a lot of that. Repeatedly being educated in white trash mannerisms and culture does not make it any less palatable. This is not limited to just the white, brown and black trash. Brown and black trash also has a lot to answer for. But who will dare challenge or hold them accountable? Law and order inclusive of the so-called justice system is not fit for human consumption. Go back to the ruling of the European Court of Human Rights. My God, forever they knew the crap that is being practiced in the name of law in the US, and it took them decades to come down to and say, okay, enough is enough. My conscience cannot bear that anymore. So they put a hold. They barred all extradition proceedings to the US from Europe. So what now? We will pick up our toys and create another playground as we do? We don't believe in the International Criminal Court. We don't believe in the International Charter for Human Rights of a Child. No, we don't. Because we are America. We are far superior to that. In what way? Show me! You're going to do what? Go and create another playground? Where all must play by our rules, which will be made as befits us, and declare all else unworthy? Let me repeat that sentence. We will pick up our toys and create another playground where all must play by our rules, which will be made as befits us, and declare all else unworthy. Remember Vietnam? Men and women in shorts and vests, they beat the crap out of us. And the people in uniform, who were there for almost 2 decades representing this country, they came back as fallen humans, where the US public was defecating on them and the politicians left them to rot. Then we created Taliban. Men in pajamas beat the crap out of us. With the tail between our legs, we boarded planes and we ran, leaving our friends behind. Well, that's what we did. Maybe the Kuwaitis and the Middle Easterns that I met with in their embassies, they told me, what are you doing in that country? They're whores. We pay them. They're our whores. So, United States is the whore of people who pay them? That's what I heard repeatedly. Something to be proud of. Right now, the only feelings I have are of anger, pain, and being let down repeatedly. what the hell am I supposed to be proud of being a US citizen? Tell me. I'm asking. Repeatedly. Black, white, pink, blue, brown, Jew, Muslim, Christian. Anybody tell me, what am I supposed to be proud of with a US passport in my hand? The problem for me is the stench is becoming overpowering. And just look at our court and prisons system, which is gone past crumbling. Look at Fulton prison. You wouldn't put animals in there. Humans are sleeping on the floor. Look at the cells. They are being shown on TV. The commissioners are taking salaries. Sheriff is getting paid. Everybody was getting paid. Kids coming from a shambolic social system are thrown in there like rats, gnawing at each other in pure filth. D.A. Fanny is pursuing President Trump. Why can't she smell the shit in her own backyard? It's right next to the state capitol. Pontification. Blacks, you do it brilliantly. Whites, you just put tiaras on your head. Browns, you're like squirrels, just gathering nuts and making bigger piles. Who the hell cares about human beings? Who? And then you bring religion and faith into it. You cannot follow simple laws that the so-called democracy creates. So-called democracy. It's an autocracy. Go and Google it if you can't read or write. You can talk to it now. That's a blessing for you because you can't read or write. But Alexa or its cousins or its inbred siblings, they can hear you and they will give you an answer. The country is imploding and appears a shambolic disgrace. Provision of legal and judicial services dysfunctional at best. Incompetent, shambolic, corrupt, and there's much more in the English vocabulary, but we'll leave it at that for now. So say any and every oversight entity inclusive of the much vaunted Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, whose worth remains immeasurable and unknown. By which scale are you going to measure the competence or the money spent on them or their accountability? They keep lowering standards for employment and still cannot fill badly needed positions of employment despite lowering their standards for application. To a BA in counseling or similar or associated qualification, it says, 3 years I've been watching them. This is what they put out. They're trying to bring people in and lowering the standards. And they are the guardians of this nation. They are the guardians of ethics and morality of this nation. They are the guardians, the gatekeepers for yours and my well-being. Shame on you, shame on me, shame on all of us. Demented fox high on meth is our guardian. I can use much stronger language.